What is poppin' YouTube? Back again with another video. Today we're doing my 7 players that are bust proof in 2023 fantasy football. If you wouldn't mind, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Best free way to support the channel. We're growing like crazy. Appreciate the community that we're building here. Let's go. My first player we're going to be talking about being bust proof is Ja'Marr Chase. Now I know what the comments are saying. Ja'Marr Chase, Caleb, he's a first round starter pick going in the top 3 picks. Of course he's going to be bust proof. Well, let's be clear. There's a ton of busts that happen in the first round. I do love me some Justin Jefferson. I do love me some Cooper Kupp. But Ja'Marr Chase, for me, I just can't get enough talking about him. Ja'Marr Chase paired up with Joe Burrow in that Cincinnati Bengals offense is going to be amazing. We look at what he's done the last 2 seasons. 20.2 fantasy points per game last season, wide receiver 4 on a fantasy points per game basis. The year before that, 17.9, put him as the wide receiver 5. We look at underdog ADP right now. It's insane. He's going in the top 2 picks. With a player going in the top 2 picks, of course, if you're in your redraft leagues, your underdog leagues, you're going to have those top 2 picks. I just cannot see a world where Ja'Marr Chase does not produce unless he somehow gets injured. And like I said, if an injury happens, we can't predict it. But bust proof to me means that Ja'Marr Chase has every opportunity to reach his potential, which I could even see him getting above that wide receiver 4 finish on a points per game basis that he had last season. What has the Cincinnati Bengals done? What have the Cincinnati Bengals done? They brought in Irv Smith Jr., but that is nothing exciting. Joe Mixon's another year older. You still have T. Higgins, but there's going to be plenty of targets to see in the Cincinnati Bengals offense. And I just think Ja'Marr Chase continues to capitalize and improve, even with the double teams that are going to come his way. It's going to be really hard to double team Ja'Marr Chase for very long when you have T. Higgins, who's also going to be taking the next step this season. So Ja'Marr Chase is my first player that I think is bust proof. Let me know down in the comments, how are you feeling about Ja'Marr Chase this season? My second player that I think is bust proof is Bijan Robinson. Now, Bijan Robinson is a rookie, first round pick to the Atlanta Falcons in the top 10 picks. The Atlanta Falcons were the second highest rushing team last season, which is exciting for Bijan Robinson walking into an offense that already likes to run the ball and is planning to use him in a workhorse role. We're talking 300 touches for Bijan Robinson if everything plays out this season, which if he gets those 300 touches, Bijan Robinson should finish as the RB2, RB3 in points per game. I think there's even a shot, personally, in my opinion, that Bijan Robinson is the RB1 on a fantasy points per game basis because there are some question marks with Austin Eckler. CMC is another year older. As much as CMC had an amazing year once he got to the San Francisco 49ers, we don't know what his splits are going to look like with Elijah Mitchell. And there's a ton of great weapons between Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. There's not going to be enough ball for all those guys to eat. And as much as I want to say it's CMC, I just don't know. Bijan Robinson is my second bust-proof player for this season. My third bust-proof player is going to be Garrett Wilson. Now, I put out a video last week talking about how I could see Garrett Wilson being the wide receiver 1 in fantasy football. And a lot of people thought I was crazy. So I'm going to link that right up here if you want to go check that out. Because, of course, there's Ja'Marr Chase. Of course, there's Justin Jefferson. But if we look at the analytics, we look at the metric, Garrett Wilson was on track with even the crappy quarterback play. If you took the splits of when he had a solid quarterback between Mike White and Joe Flacco and put that on a whole rookie season basis, he would have had the same type of rookie season that Justin Jefferson had. Now, I know it's a little bit hard to extrapolate that data and then say, yep, Garrett Wilson is Justin Jefferson. But I think Garrett Wilson getting Aaron Rodgers is going to make him instantly insulate in value and have solid fantasy point production. If we've seen the connection, Aaron Rodgers working with Garrett Wilson has that typical type of elite level route running that Aaron Rodgers likes. And so for me, I am all aboard the Garrett Wilson train being breast proof. Even last season, 12.7 fantasy points per game, put him as the wide receiver 30 on a fantasy points per game basis as a rookie. I could see that getting up into the top 10. I could see that getting into wide receiver 6, wide receiver 5. But personally, I think there's the upside to get to that wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 space, which for him being drafted where he's getting drafted at currently right now, behind Cooper Kupp, behind AJ Brown, is something that I'm excited about for Garrett Wilson. And that's why I think he's bust proof, because I think worst case scenario, he finishes as the wide receiver 8. He finishes as the wide receiver 10. And yeah, maybe that is a bust compared to where you drafted him, but you're still getting great redraft value out of Garrett Wilson. My fourth player we're going to be talking about today that is bust proof is Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley is coming back from the suspension with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I just said, I just made another video a few days ago talking about how Calvin Ridley could be the Cooper Kupp of this season, where it busts out of nowhere, where he has had the wide receiver 4 points per game finish 3 seasons ago, but we haven't seen that same level upside. Now, he's getting the best quarterback of his career with Trevor Lawrence in the best offense of his career, where you have Travis Etienne, you have Evan Ingram, you have Christian Kirk with a young stud quarterback. And that is something that is exciting for me with Calvin Ridley. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, Calvin Ridley might not get the targets. Well, Calvin Ridley has been a high target dominator. And there's no part of me that thinks that, oh, goodness, sharing the field with Christian Kirk, when there's nothing to prove that Christian Kirk, besides last season, really dominated the targets. I'm super in on Calvin Ridley. Ridley, especially where he's going at in underdog leagues. Calvin Ridley is currently going off as a wide receiver 16. I'm taking those shots all day. Calvin Ridley is my 4th bust-proof player in 2023. My 5th bust-proof player in 2023 fantasy football is going to be James Conner. James Conner, completely underrated, completely undervalued. What has James Conner done up to this point? He's just produced fantasy football points. In redraft fantasy football, all we want is fantasy football points, and that's all he's done the last 2 seasons. 17.2 fantasy points per game back in 2021. Then we look at 2022, put up 15.4 fantasy points per game, put him as the RB9. And currently right now in these underdog drafts, he's going late, ladies and gentlemen. He's going off as RB28, which is way too late for a guy that has top 20, top 10 potential in James Conner's outcomes. It's crazy to me that we are letting James Conner fall this far. Now, granted, I understand the Arizona Cardinals offense is going to be so bad, so bad. Who's throwing the ball? When is Kyler Murray returning? But that doesn't matter because when Kyler Murray was out, they relied heavily on James Conner. And so James Conner is my 5th bust-proof player that I'm drafting everywhere. Drafting everywhere in underdog leagues. My 6th bust-proof player is going to be JuJu Smith-Schuster. Now, I know what you're saying, Caleb. JuJu Smith-Schuster is not that good. I agree with you. He's not that good. But he's bust-proof to me because where he's going and the value that he's going to provide is immense. We look at him signing his huge contract with the New England Patriots. Glad for JuJu. Finally got paid. It's taken 2 off seasons. And granted, we just saw the deal with Devontae Parker, so we don't know necessarily how Bill views wide receivers. Clearly doesn't know how to evaluate them. But the fact is, last season, JuJu's put up 11.6 fantasy points per game, put him as a wide receiver 35 on a points per game basis. Now, what do we do when we look at him on the New England Patriots? Of course, he's not getting the ball thrown to him by Patrick Mahomes. He's getting the ball thrown to him by Mac Jones. But JuJu, to me, is where there's just incredible value. JuJu Smith-Schuster is going off the board as a wide receiver 51, which totally understand. His floor is super low. But when you're getting him at wide receiver 51, when he's proven over the years that he is a top 25, top 30 wide receiver, it is a no-brainer to be drafting JuJu there. So I just feel like JuJu's bust-proof. Yes, maybe it's not him getting 15, 17 fantasy points per game. I don't think that's in his range of outcomes. But for him to put up a solid 11, 12 fantasy points per game, give you value in your flex spot, give you value in your depth at wide receiver, JuJu Smith is another wide receiver that I think is bust-proof. And I'll end it with my favorite guy, Greg 3-legged Dulcich. Now, if you watch my videos, I swear I talk about this guy probably once a week because I just love the man this much. Greg Dulcich, unbelievable tight end. Every video I put in these 2 tweets, so I'm going to put them here right now, where we're just talking about Greg Dulcich in elite level tight end company, where he's going in these underdog drafts. It's ridiculous. Greg Dulcich is currently going off as tight end 13. We know exactly how easy it is for a tight end to be a tight end 1 because the tight end landscape is just terrible. I just love me some Greg Dulcich. The reports out of Sean Payton, out of the Denver Broncos offense, there needs to be a clear number 2 receiving option in the Denver Broncos offense. And I don't think that's necessarily Courtland Sutton. I don't think that's Tim Patrick. I think they drafted Marvin Mims because they want him to become that. But I think Greg Dulcich has the perfect opportunity in targets, opportunity to step on the field and continue on to his amazing rookie season that he had and have an amazing year. Now, last year, we were harping up Cole Kmet. And we all saw what happened with Cole Kmet, even though Cole Kmet had a very solid end to the season. I just think Greg Dulcich has the potential to be drafted as this tight end 2 territory, where he's going to finish as the tight end 7, tight end 8. And so for me, I really view Greg Dulcich bust-proof. If you wouldn't mind, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Best free way to support the channel. Appreciate everyone for tuning in here today. We'll be back again tomorrow. Peace.